I'd like to call to order the Board of Mayor and Alderman work session, July the 2nd, 2024. Are there any public comments? Seeing none, we'll move. Board, in your package, you have the minutes for the June 6th work session. These are for approval. Do I have any corrections on those minutes? Hearing none, those minutes will stand as presented. Board, also this morning we're going to have a little change in the agenda. Our attorney needs to get to a court session that he has, so we're going to move to the beginning of the agenda, item E, 1, 2, 3, and 4. In case there were any legal questions, we can do these while our attorney is here. Is there any objection to this change? Okay, so we will then begin with Director Christy Gentry with Planning and Codes.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 1 and 2 go together, but the property owner, Mr. Gary Smith, does want to move forward with item number 1, the resolution number 2024-09, the annexation request for 1500 Winchester Highway. But the project has changed. The Circle K deal is off the table now. So he is requesting to move forward with the annexation, but withdraw the rezoning request. So he wants to keep his property zoned R2 for now, but he would like to move forward with the annexation to have his entire property brought into the city limits. This would help when he decides to sell in the future. It would clean up that municipal boundary, and then be a little bit more revenue for the city for property taxes. So move forward with number 1 and then withdraw item number 2.
So just for clarification, Christy, I know we've had several discussions on this with our attorney. So will we also have the public hearings on Tuesday night for these 2 items?
We did advertise in the local paper. It is on our website, Facebook, and the resident letters were sent out. I've only had 1 phone call, and it was for the property directly behind, and she was aware that the deal with Circle K is no longer on the table and was asking if it was still on the agenda. Attorney Hill may have clarification, but I think since we've advertised for it, we would have, of course, for the annexation because he wants to move forward, but we may just mention that the rezoning was withdrawn and...
The mayor and city administrator and I discussed this yesterday, and I think probably the best course of action since we have advertised it would be to leave it on the agenda, but just the mayor can announce at the start of the meeting that the rezoning part has been withdrawn.
Okay. We were not given any information as to the reason why the deal fell through. After we had advertised and done all this work, the negotiations just did not come to fruition. And I did get via email request that Circle K was withdrawing their request. But then I also confirmed via telephone yesterday with Mr. Gary Smith that he, as a property owner, wanted to take off the rezoning too.
All right, is any questions of the board in these matters? Okay.
And then item number 3 is the sign ordinance revision. This item was also advertised for the public hearing. The entire document is on our website. It was advertised on Facebook as well and then posted here at the municipal building. The only request that I had received was from Mr. Danny with some grammatical errors and spacing issues. Jack and Jill, we did go through the document and they have made those changes, but we just would like to present this sign ordinance revision as presented that was given out to the board.
So you're going to clear up all those?
We did, yes, sir. And we would send out a refresh. It did not change any of the context or the information, but we did have some formatting issues via Word, and then there was a few spelling and spacing issues.
It was just spacing and wording and, just, it change anything.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We did address those.
Okay, I do have a question on this, signs to be allowed in state city right of way. How is it any better be able to enforce this than it is now? Because it's always been a problem. And I know that there are signs all over the right of way, all over the city, so.
We, of course, we feel really good about the document, and then they are trying to actively, I know with the political signs and everything, it's almost been a full-time job these last few weeks. I know Jack has picked up several just in front of Public Works, and then the very next day, there's another one right back out there. So it's just being able to...
It's gonna be as difficult.
But they're not, I mean, that's a state statute. They're not supposed to be in the right-of-way, visibility, all kinds of issues with that. But it's signs are almost a full-time job, but we still feel that it needs to be in there as such. And then, I mean, we've got a whole basement full of signs right now that we're trying to get to, but literally you take one up or you move it back to the right place, and then the very next day they're right back out there. But that still we feel needs to be a part of it, because that is part of the state statute on
I'm not asking
sign.
to take it out, I'm just.
Yes, ma'am, yes. That's always going to be,
It's very hard to last time.
it's going to be very hard still to enforce. That's one of the toughest areas of our job is signage, and it's always the temporary nature.
Okay, one other question, and that's off-site signs.
Yes, ma'am.
How is that addressed now, and does it, how is it, I read it here, and it's still a statute in here. So what do we do about a sign that is off-site for a new placing a sign?
Off-premise is still not allowed, and it would be enforced in this ordinance as well. And they didn't want off-premise. We still do not allow billboards of anything of that nature. So that was in our current ordinance, and it's in this new proposed ordinance.
So that brings up one other issue, that it's not against the farmer's market at all, but there is an off-site sign at the farmer's market, and about 4 signs that pertain to the farmer's market in the same area. How's that going to be addressed?
Would those be grandfathered, Johnny?
Grandfathering would apply. I don't know how long those signs I don't know if they've been there before the existing.
One of them from South Main and Mayberry was placed there within the sign ordinance from the last time. And I think I asked you
Was
about
that the Lincoln Leadership Project?
I'm not sure.
Because I know we had talked to you a couple of classes ago.
I just want to bring it up because previously there was a sign for the motel there, and then this farmer's market sign was put there within the parameters of the last sign ordinance, and it's definitely off-site. And I didn't want it to come up and bite someone who's trying to put a sign off-site somewhere else, and this comes forward.
I think that was the leadership group that put that sign up. You're right, Christy.
I think that was part of their class project,
Yeah.
but we have to do some research on that one.
Get that.
I say it because it does bear looking at, because it is off-site. For sure. And mind you, it's nothing against the farmer's market for sure. But you can't enforce that if somebody else wants to do that close to the establishment itself.
Okay, then for your report?
Yes. I did want to just mention, we were able to use some demolition funds to demolish 603 Kiwanis. That one was, we were able to get that in for the end of the fiscal year. BJ Allen that was his first job with the city. He did a tremendous job. We hope that he will put in to do more work for the city. And then we are finalizing cleaning up the leftover foundation from a demolition at 400 Market Street West. That should be completed this week. And our BC Woods property and maintenance gentleman, Mr. Steve Miner, came in. They're going to be doing some renovations to their shopping center. He was very pleased that the T-Mobile project was going on. The Long John Silver's remodel is going on. And he did confirm that Five Below is going to come and hopes to open sometime in September, right beside the Dollar Tree. They're going to be putting some new roofs on their facilities. So we have several good commercial projects going, and then the construction plans for the Waffle House is supposed to come to the July Planning Commission, so that project will be moving forward. So we have lots of good things going up and down Huntsville Highway. I know we mentioned residential a lot, but wanted to shine some light on the commercial side too.
Thank you. Any questions for Christie?
We talked a little bit about the old craft building. Any movement on that?
And I was gonna do that if I were.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We did place a lien on this property for the cost of the demolition. We're expecting that property to go to the tax sale this year, the owners. And we will also be placing a lien on the Market Street property once that work is done. And that property we also expect to go to the tax sale. Tax sale should be in July, so hopefully we're going to collect. Hopefully we're going to collect all of the money back if we spend on this.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time we'll go back to the original order of the agenda. First up, we have Public Works, Director Jack Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. All right, as far as Public Works, the first item is to remove the reserved parking signs that are on the end of the municipal building. I know with this sidewalk project, we're eating up some parking. The merchants are hurting for spaces. So I had the thought that let's maybe just take those signs down, open up for public. And Mr. Owens has already sent out requested employees here in this building to maybe park in the parking garage and leave that open or park further down. Just trying to help the merchants a little bit with that. And we did do some research. Don't think there's any minutes on when they were actually installed. I think it was just the previous administrator had placed them there. So we'd just like to remove those.
I don't believe we're above them to do that. The reason we brought this forward is the board wants to be 100% sure, go ahead and vote.
Right.
In case we did vote on it. I don't remember ever voting. Dorothy, remember you ever vote, put them signs up down there? We just drove in here one morning, it's up.
Right.
Vice
We did
Mayor.
discuss it though.
Yeah, we confirmed, yesterday that was not voted, was not action taken on by this board.
I don't think that we would even, if you're sure that if you never voted on it, I don't think this has to go no further right
It
here.
never did come, it never did come.
No, I think we just take it down.
Okay. We'll do it.
Didn't vote on it. I mean,
Okay.
apparently the previous city administrator made that.
That's correct.
Okay.
So the current city administrator we got now can do what
Okay. I've got my drill in the truck and my ladder, so we'll get it. I got the screwdriver in the
Done the
truck.
research.
Okay. I think it'd be a show of good faith.
But on that, I want to make another comment before we get off that. On each side of the square is going to be a little bit difficult when we're parking. It would seem to me that on the inside, like right now, they're working on the working on the south side of the square, I guess you call it. It would seem to me if courthouse employees would shift their parking all they can over to the north side and south side to relieve that parking in that little area right in there, that'd help a lot.
Yeah.
I would get with the county mayor.
Well, Mayor Hartman and I had that discussion, and I think we were talking about going and talking with the mayor there.
So y'all gonna look at that already?
We're going to try to encourage them and ask and, plead with them to help out with these merchants, because they're going to really be hurting for.
We got a letter from the mayor, county mayor, saying that, they would, which I've never done, but we got an email, I've got a copy of the email myself. Because of all the work that they did before, and we lost quite a bit of parking, was what that work they did. That, moving forward, they would have the courthouse employees utilize, some parking lots. Of course, that's never happened, never did happen, even though that we was told they would do that. But it seems like now, it would be to everybody's benefit if they would shift all the parking they can away from that site they're working on.
Yes, sir.
I think we should have good enough working relationship, and I don't see
think so.
any problem county doing that.
I know the church parking lot, the one I've talked to is the Methodist and the Baptist, just up Elk. That's open during the week and free for anyone to park.
Okay.
And so, maybe we can, discuss that.
I'll
Also,
encourage that.
in the past, there's been some attempt to get the employees to change their parking. But we'll have to go to the mayor and also each elected official, because the employees work for the elected officials. So, but we'll work on that and see what we can do to get help for these merchants.
They have a whole lot on parking, just
Yeah,
what
it would.
they work on is they work around, then they can shift the parking back, and that doesn't help our lot.
Okay. All right, item 2, this is a request from Jen Pierce that, she's over the art center there. She was requesting to do a crosswalk. It's where Campbell comes out and hits Main. She first had the idea of a hopscotch type thing, and we kind of struck that down real quick, but she also sent me some things here, and I'll show you what, this is an idea that she had, and this is totally,
You just a messenger.
So after the hopscotch, she said this one? Should we go back to the hopscotch?
We had this in the committee
I
meeting.
think,
Roger was there. We had this in the committee meeting. And what our thought was, I'll just tell you up front what our thought was as a committee. That on crosswalks, we didn't have a problem with crosswalk there because there's not much traffic right there. But we need to stay standard. We need to stay the same everywhere, just a typical 2 lines crosswalk. If we start doing the music and we start doing this, the distractions, what that is. The crosswalk is to get people across where traffic can move on. But our thought was, okay, if we do something different at this crosswalk, Devil Medical down here, they might want to put some, images of peels out there. But I think we need to stay standard, that's the problem. That would be solved. We need to stay standard on the crosswalk, even though they're principal.
it's a neat idea. I like, the thought's awesome, but it is a distraction. That's my concern is,
I think it is.
It's
not only a distraction, it's just if we get away from just standard crosswalks, if we do this specialized for this place, then somebody else is going to want to specialize for where they're at. And then we get into, I can see the chalk marks on sidewalks and all that they do sometimes because they're not out there in the traffic. But this is traffic. We don't need anything distracted from traffic. That was our thought.
Okay.
But now the rest of the board can do what they want to.
Finance thought the same thing. We just moved it on for the whole board to have a say, but we both felt the same way as what you just said. Yeah.
To finance. And I think they're paying for this.
Yes, that's right, Jeff. She's has some type of grant that would actually pay for the paint that would take to do this is all on her. There'd be no cost to us. Of course, we had a discussion earlier that Jill had brought, and then you have maintenance of this thing as it fades, and so so there's other things to think about. So
Well, sure it is. The maintenance for 2 yellow lines is just put the lines back down. imagine something like this right here.
Right.
If it's completely
Yeah, and,
pretty good, I just
So-
don't, I don't think we need to start
okay.
making differences.
And you worry that the idea of safety, which is what the crosswalk is for, is
Right.
going to be lost in this
Yeah.
design. I mean, it's a great design,
Yeah.
but you've got to think about the safety, and
Right.
that's why crosswalks are there.
Okay,
So,
okay.
I don't think it's a bad place for a crosswalk at all.
yeah,
No,
right.
I think it is probably a good idea to have one there because of the connection now, with the sidewalks and things. Okay,
Okay, so that will not move forward, is that, I
I'm
hear that
okay,
from the board?
I'm okay with moving the crosswalk forward with just standard city crosswalk. That's
okay,
what I'm for.
Okay.
If it wants crosswalk, I don't have a problem with it, but just going to be the two lines.
That makes
So we
sense.
want to move this forward Tuesday to vote?
Yeah, without all this right.
Okay, okay,
okay.
all right.
Okay, item number 3 is the sidewalk repair on Green Street. Debbie has already got that bid prepared, and that's going to be a bid request for that project.
Do we have to bid that out?
Well, we were talking with Miss Loretta, because of the fact it's over, it's going to be over 25,000, and it's, the part of it is just standard. The sidewalk would fall under curbers, I would feel, but there's some of the others, some emergency stuff and things that it falls out of that scope of just standard repair in the city. So we decided that we would.
So there's some of this project that our agreement with Curvers does not cover.
Right, that's what we're looking at.
Right.
Yeah, so that was put out for bid.
Right.
And I think that opens, Debbie, July the 17th, okay.
Okay, we'll move this forward to Tuesday night. It's okay with everyone? Okay.
All right, the next one, this item was one to discuss possibly hazard pay for our sanitation workers. And not everyone in the public works, just when our guys are running the garbage routes. Would like to see if the board would agree with it. The hazard pay that's built in is, I think it's like a 5% on their pay for that. I think it just helps them. It's a tough job as it is. It helps as an incentive thing, and the hazards are there. There's the stuff they pick up. We don't know what's in those bags. There's glass. There's sharp objects, syringes. Full colostomy bags, full urine bags, things that they found as they put them in, as they dump. The packer packs the bags. They explode. We have one guy that's been under workers' comp. He was out a couple of weeks with a bag. The bag exploded, and there was just loose cat litter in there. It dusted through his goggles, over his goggles, into his eyes, and he had to have some eye surgery, and he's back now. But so that was just something that I thought we would entertain for those guys that just when they're on the route.
Just for what time they're on the route?
Yes, sir.
Just 2 employees?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, this came through. Do you want to?
Well, I was gonna say, no, it went to public works, but also went to finance
Right.
as well, but then we also asked, I think the question was brought up, can it be taken out of the 2 extra employees that are not there? And you said no.
No,
We cannot.
because it's an enterprise fund.
Right, so,
And the other employees those other positions are in street.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have any problem with it because police and fire department already has that set up. It's standard. I mean, I guess they've got that set up. You're just talking about for 2 employees.
Yes, sir.
That's not even 40 hours a week, probably. It's just what time they're on the truck.
When they're on the truck, the 4 days they run the truck.
Yeah, and
We run the route in 4 days, and that's,
5%. You're not talking about. I saw a number somewhere on that.
I think it was $3,900.
Yeah. And that's probably on the high end.
They're probably on the high end, so,
What we estimated.
but we don't even have any sanitation employees, period.
no, sir, not per se, no.
If you were pulling the people off the street, run those trucks, they'd be parked.
All right,
We can't hire anybody to run a sanitation truck.
no, sir, not right
So
now.
this extra, it would have to come out of the sanitation fund.
Yes,
Yeah, this extra would do this.
so it would require budget amendment.
All right, that budget amendment, I'm glad you mentioned that, because this is a good time to bring this up, Kevin, and Loretta, and the mayor. We got the okay, state comptroller was okay with the budget.
With the budget, yes, sir.
But they had a suggestion, almost a requirement. The way I read that was, and maybe I misread it, the way I read that was, when we do a budget amendment outside the budget, it seemed like, to me, they were saying that we need to vote on that before we do turn the funds loose. Is that right or not?
Well, that was one of the questions I had for our auditors too.
Yeah.
What procedures we would need to do, so I'm trying to find total clarity with interpretation. You may have something different about it, but.
Well, this is gonna slow everything down.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a killer.
I think it's a little bit overkill.
It's way overkill.
Yeah.
But I mean, they are who they are. So we need to find out for sure. I mean, the budget we passed, it was all good with it, no problem.
Right.
But in looking back on how we doing our budget amendments, there was a time a few years ago, and Dorothy will remember this, and I don't know if the mayor was here then or not. There was a time where we didn't do any budget amendments till the end of the year.
Right.
We waited on all of them at the end of the year. Well, we didn't like that. I don't know if you remember
Right, I
that.
do remember.
I complained about that the whole time because I didn't like that. So we started doing the budget amendments monthly kind of, which is probably about the right way to do it. But now it seems like that they're asking us to do a budget amendment, do a vote
And then do the budget.
before we can even turn the funds loose on,
Right. That would make actions coming twice before the board.
well, we need to get that set
Right.
right. Somebody needs to get on the phone with those people up there in Nashville and explain the situation to them and
I have a
see.
meeting with our auditor
Right.
next week, next Monday, and that's one of the big questions I had for them.
We're getting our hands tied more and more and more. We're getting our hands tied more and more and more on how, it's gonna soon get to where it's gonna be hard to operate.
It is.
It really is. I mean, even the 2 or 3 day notice we gotta give the public now is messed up. Nobody ever uses that. It's messed up all the time and on everything, but
And for this board, we meet only once a month. I mean, it would be different, if we had 2 meetings a month or so, but it slows things down a lot for us.
well, let's get some really written, make her case to the state comptroller's office what kind of position that puts us in. And if we had to do it, we just have to do it. I don't know if I like it. We're doing a whole lot better than we used to do, at least now we're doing it about a month, once a year.
Okay, I have a couple of questions along that line for the pay itself. Anyone who substitutes for the guys who are on the sanitation trucks will be paid the same amount, will receive that as well, and how difficult would that be for payroll, switching back and forth, like if someone's out for vacation, someone's filling in for them?
Yes, ma'am.
They will get that pay as well. Okay, my second part question is personal protective equipment. You mentioned goggles. Do the guys wear goggles? Okay.
Now they have them. They're supposed to have them on now. At 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if they take them off but they know they're supposed to wear them. We've discussed it, met with it. They have gloves. They have
Puncture-proof gloves? Are they certified puncture-proof gloves?
They're just
Prevent some of that,
Yeah.
some of the OSHA requirements coming in, so
And-
that we can
yes.
prevent some of these injuries, perhaps.
Yes. Yeah, as I say, they have them. They're supposed to have them on, but now, as things the day goes on, they get hot. They're prone to possibly take them off. I don't know. But all we do is encourage it, and we discuss it, and so that's part of the protocol.
In policies as well. We have these in the policies as well.
And Madam, Alderwoman, we had talked, Jack and I talked about this maybe a couple months. As soon as we settle, we want to do some safety training within this department, and that's something we still plan to do so as well. And as far as the payroll, I had a conversation with Candace on this Friday, and we know that it's going to take a lot more documentation and whatever. So she is preparing herself if that is the case. we do, and that also would be on the other side that we would just have to document so we know which employees, and it would have to be noted very much in the payroll
Yes.
about that. So we had to do a little bit kind of connecting in order to get that done.
Yeah, when Anna works their timesheets, the timesheets are earmarked, for sanitation.
Position that they're-
Right, they have to be because it's totally separate from street and garage.
And Anna's very on to detail. I mean, she
Mhm.
keeps real strict records and everything. So that
She
would
is,
help.
she's very good at it. Yeah. This is a daily, and we do have, you're right, Ms. Dorothy, we have a lot of call outs. These guys, they do call out, and we have to substitute. We have a substitution this week, but it's just,
Just housekeeping,
but
to
it's-
make sure
right,
things stay
right.
consistent.
yes, and they are, she does, each employee, they're earmarked for where they're working that week, so.
Okay. If everyone is okay with this, we'll move this on to Tuesday night's board meeting. And for your director's report, sir.
Okay. As far as the report, while we're discussing the garbage routes and things, we have 5 guys that are in our CDL program that you guys have let us do. They're working on it. They're doing their studying. We still haven't had anyone take their permit test yet, but they are. I think we got a couple that's ready next week to step out there. So that program we're still moving on with it. Also, I've talked with public directors from Tullahoma and Pulaski. We're going to go up and meet with them. Dave Warren, our chief mechanic and assistant director for public works, we're going to all take a visit to those two, see what they're doing with their garbage trucks they have, because we're going to request our truck. They have the type of truck they're using. We want to watch them. We want to talk with their mechanic. We want to watch them run the truck just to see if we can, what will work for us, what I feel would be the best choice. So we're going to, I think that'll give us a lot of help. They've been some help to me to reach out to there. So
You're still looking at a truck to do that.
sir.
You're talking about the garbage truck?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and both directors had said we could come up, we can ride with them, we can ride behind them, we can watch them and see what they have works, because they have one of the trucks that are interested, the automated arm truck. So I think that'd be very helpful. Let our mechanic talk to their mechanic, see what kind of issues, and see what we're getting into. So there's a lot of automation to these things, and
So how many garbage trucks do we have that you can use now? 2?
we have a half of one and a half of one. So we have two. We have two that, and between the two, we work back. Dave Warren and his crew are awesome to keep those things going. The problem with those trucks is the manufacturer is no longer in business. So there is a warehouse that has some parts for those trucks. What's left over parts, because there's no more parts made. So when this warehouse is done or closed or gone, then we got 2 paperweights basically. So, but we do feel like with the new truck and these two, we can keep them working. So we'd have a backup truck and a second truck between, so they'll still be usable, but not our sole source. Okay. The other thing is we did interview for the assistant director position, and we'll be making that decision and promotion next week. Other thing is I want to bring up, we discussed I know back and forth we've been discussing this turn lane over here at Elkin College. I talked to the American Stripers, the ones that's going to stripe Elkin Market for us, and he's going to come down and give me a quote on blacking it out or grinding it. He said they do have a way to process just to do a light grinding, leave a small mark in the pavement, but that would be the most permanent, and get rid of that. So he's going to quote. He's supposed to meet me next Monday, and I'll bring that back so we can get rid of that.
We got permission from the state, right?
Right. DOT has looked at it and they said it absolutely needs to be gone. So, other thing is, I guess we'll talk about the sidewalk project. They're finishing up over on the Main Street side. They're finishing up the brickwork, capping that out. he's measured for the wrought iron that'll go up on where they've done the steps and ramps. That'll be going in, or the guardrails, not wrought iron, the guardrails. I'm not sure when that'll be in, but that's in the plan. And as far as the Market Street side, he's got demolition started. They're gonna get it cleaned up, put some gravel down, and then I guess next week he'll start demolition on the remaining. They want to do demolition on the entire block before they start any concrete work, before they start the seat wall work. So they'll demolish it all, and then they'll start digging the seat wall and start forming, pouring it, and then same process. He'll brick up so high, we'll pour concrete and try to keep things rolling. So we're way ahead. We've already got the plumbing issues taken care of. The meters, FPU's been awesome to get those meters in there for us. Powerhouse Plumbing's been great. They've come in and they've done the meter work to the building. So we're way ahead of where we were, with the process on Main. So
Is FPU done capped off all those gas lines?
there's still some line, I talked to Clint yesterday, there's still some lines that are going under, and those are still, they're not servicing the buildings, but they're still actually live.
They're not capped up, they're not dug them up the street and cut them off?
No, sir, and, that's something that I think they're going to do, but they just haven't. So I don't think, so what we found, they're all deep enough not to be an issue, but there's one that could be an issue, and Clint, we looked at yesterday. So, and he may just go ahead and get it and cap it, but eventually they'll all be gone and capped. But there are live lines under that sidewalk. They go into the buildings, they're still live, but they're just, they're shut off.
Yeah, they can dig them all up at one time, except for one.
Right.
One still.
On the far corner, yes, sir. Yeah, but everything else is they're not actually feeding the buildings, but they are still live lines.
They capped off all the buildings.
Yes, sir.
Plugged off. So on the front of Norman Furniture on South Main down there, some pavers that still got to be put in. Right?
Yeah, where the plywood spots are at, the pavers are going to go in. We were told by the contractor that there was somehow somebody dropped the ball and didn't get them ordered in time. So when the crew comes back that's doing the forming, that form the walls up, they actually lay the pavers. So when they come in to start forming the wall, which once he gets that demolition, they'll come in and lay the pavers. And as they form the new walls, the new seat walls over here on this section.
And there's some, you mentioned, I guess, some guard or some railing.
There's some railing, yes, sir. He's already, that's measured. Those have to be prefabricated, or fabricated for that. It's all the step area, ramp areas. You see, there's a small curve. You see, that'll all have handrail on it. We're okay as far as handicap compliance right now because fall protection, because we're not over that 30-inch mark. So it's okay to open it up to let public usage for right now. And as soon as he gets moved over, we're going to try as much as we can to keep some areas cleared out. The
pavers won't be laid until they start working the wall.
That's what I was told, because it's that same crew, the MC that comes in and does that work. They actually do they do the paver work as well. It's not the brick mason. He doesn't do the pavers. It's this other crew. And I'm not sure if the pavers are here or not. I haven't seen them.
So those thick pavers are thin.
I haven't seen them, Mr. Brown. I don't know. It's I don't know the pattern. I guess it was something that the board picked out as far as the pattern. I don't know. I know he's got a 4-inch. I know it's a 4-inch recess for the paver, so I'm assuming it'll be probably a sand base, mortar base, and probably a thick paver. And that's it. That's a lot.
And Jack, I know that you and Mr. Owens and the team are meeting with the merchants. You're giving, and of course your secretary, and y'all are keeping the merchants up to date daily and the community as much as possible. Anybody is welcome to come into the city building and look at these plans.
Yeah, we have the plans set out in planning codes. They're out on the table. Anybody wants to see them.
So everybody's been really good to talk to people and kind of help explain things.
We have an email
It's
chain.
a change for us.
We have an email chain that Jill's been real good to keep it. We're going to update that today and kind of let them know what the holiday plans are with both crews, the brick mason and the contractor, because I'm not sure what his holiday plans are. We'll just have to find out, and we'll just relay the best we can. We're doing temporary walkways for them and the best we can to keep them some foot traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition, there is a Facebook page that Anna created that she updated.
Contingency funding is holding up fairly well.
Sir,
The 10% contingency funding, using it down pretty quick, or,
We have not, that's really part of my report too, but.
well,
we're getting into it. And another thing we did find, I guess I need to let you know, is the old lamp post bases, they're pretty well shot, so, and all the conduit that was running, as he pulls up each of the root balls from the trees that were cut down, it's wrapped up in the conduit's tied up in it. As he pulls it, it's just destroying the conduit, it's ripping the wires out. So we're gonna have to and they're working on, the contractor's working on getting his electrician quote this, all the bases for the lights and all the conduit wiring is going to be reran.
those bases still available.
I think it's just a concrete form they put in there, and then they slid their anchor bolts in. So
Not a metal base.
no, sir, no. And then he'll create the base. I don't think we're going to have to get in Croy to engineer these things. I think we can just do a concrete base make sure we get our anchor bolts. We can do some code work on it and get that and have them bolted back in like they were. And then the bases will be more flush with they stick up quite a bit. So and they're just moving. So it's pretty much a wash.
Those lights, we talked about that, they will actually be set in that outside sidewalk. It should be plenty of room between the light and the wall.
Yeah. So
If you're gonna have to redo the wiring and all the conduit and everything, could you not put them in the wall area
it's something that could be discussed.
to get them off that sidewalk?
I don't know.
As the plan lays now, they're pretty much in the center of the lower side. Well, not the lower in this section. All the sections on the square. That's a problem I see is they are in that section of sidewalk. They're pretty much in the center of it by design. So I don't know how that's going to affect your.
How wide is that outside sidewalk? You mean 5 foot?
I think it measures out 4 feet.
Those lights need to be out toward the curb as far as you get them.
Okay. We can definitely move them while we have the opportunity now.
ADA is going to require room more likely for
Right, and that's one of my concerns is how, because it's pretty much about the drawing, it shows them back, well, they weren't supposed to be disturbed. It just, the Croy called for the plan, just have them stay where they're at and work around them. Well, that's not going to happen. We can't leave them. But it would be an opportunity to relocate them, move them around, and shift them. If we can, we'll look at that.
You're probably going to have to get them out
Yeah.
either toward the curb, or you're going to get them in toward the wall.
Okay.
One or two, like, I guess you're talking about.
Yeah,
So you're going-
inside that roll area, so you're not taking up wall space.
You're going to have room between those lights and the curb or whatever.
Okay.
ADA, whatever they say.
Right. Okay.
It's going to be, and they're going to save more than 3 feet too.
Yes, sir.
That's something.
Yeah, you're going to have 36 inches.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
We'll,
going to find going to meet. I would have thought Florida had that designed to meet the ADA requirements to begin with.
I would have thought, I would have thought so too, but
Take a look at that.
maybe it's chopped, maybe they thought they could maneuver between each section, I'm not sure.
I think if you got as much as 5 foot on the outside sidewalk, you got room, but when it
Right,
gets.
we do, when we can bring them all the way forward. There's nothing that says we can't move them now because it's a wash. And it'll be on every section around the square because
Yeah.
the trees, and that's a good indication of what trees will do to your sidewalk and to your underneath.
Well,
It totally engulfs these, this
We
kind
had all
of,
those discussions on what those roofs is doing to the brickwork.
yeah, it's, the root systems have played havoc on that stuff
Yeah,
underneath.
there is greenery planned to go back in some places.
Yes, sir. All the spots you see that just, there's no concrete or anything, there's some gravel maybe thrown up there, piled up right now, it'll be cleaned out and that'll be the green areas. What goes in there would probably be still up for discussion, I would think. There's something on the plan, but I think it's something you guys probably want to look at and discuss, some type of plants and things, but I think we're real careful about a tree or what type of tree. Because roots they'll undermine your walk and stuff.
Just for a matter of information, a resident contacted me this week and he sent me pictures of his grandfather and father. And I shared this with Jack and Kevin yesterday, and it was in the early 70s. And his grandfather was sitting on his behind, laying every one of the bricks, one by one, on the perimeter of the square. And that was in the early 70s. And he said the concrete, he doesn't have an exact date that the concrete was put in, but this was the extension to make the sidewalks wider. And that increased that slope too, because the bricks were laid at a slope. But this man went around the square and sitting and laying every brick one by one. And so I have a couple pictures of that. So I thought that was good information.
It's pretty interesting, yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get some, he wants to save some, so.
Okay. All
Well,
right.
the last I remember any sidewalk they had done work on was the north side. That's the last one I remember.
In front of the theater.
From the theater down to there. And it's the last one I remember the sidewalk work being done.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know. It's,
Well, you know, it's something, I walk them every day, but then you really walk it and really take a real look at it, you can see the need. Our sidewalks are in bad shape. This project is pretty awesome, what we need. It's very much needed.
it's not just, it's all over town.
Yeah, when you know, like I say, you don't really think about it, I guess, but when you really walk them and take a look,
Yeah.
they're in bad shape. So this is much needed, so.
And also for the police department, where people are pulling up on the curb, up on the side, with this lower sidewalk, that's gonna just, they just can't do that. Because
Right.
this is a walkable sidewalk, and they're just not gonna be able to pull those big vehicles up on the
Right.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
So if the police department can.
Yeah, we're gonna lean on them to enforce, yeah.
All right, anything else for Public Works? Okay, thank you,
Right.
Jack.
Thank you.
Now we're moving to Police Department, Chief Barry Pendergraft.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. I have one event permit for you today, the Lincoln County Volunteer Fire and Rescue Truck or Treat. This, of course, will be in October on the 26th. This is where they pull fire trucks from around the county in the parking lot around the square and hand out candy to the children. And I've submitted that for y'all's approval.
Okay, we'll move that on to Tuesday.
Okay. Second, at the next board meeting, I would like a few minutes for some awards. I want to present our school resource officers with an outstanding unit citation. These guys have done a wonderful job, and I think they need to be recognized for it. Also have a meritorious service award I'd like to present to one of our officers for some drug enforcement that he has done.
Has there been a replacement name for Haskins yet?
Not yet. We have, we've opened it up for people to submit their names, and we pretty much know what we're going to do, but we can't fill it till he leaves. Yes, your plan's in place, everything's going good. And then finally, for our director's report, our vehicles that we've been waiting for, we're looking for 2 Tahoes. We finally got those in. Those are on the street now. We've been waiting on a pickup truck for over a year now, and thank the good Lord it came in. So all of our vehicles are in. We're up to where we're supposed to be right now.
So what's the plan for retiring as we replace these, mainly the trucks and the Tahoes? Some of this is, that vehicles we're getting in is a replacement for some of those older ones.
Correct.
So how do we get rid of those old ones?
Put those on gov deals.
Got a deal?
We've got a list of a lot of old cars over in the impound lot we've already turned in to get rid of. And what we'll do, we'll look at the maintenance cost that we're putting in, which one's costing us the most money. We'll look at which ones have the most miles. We'll retire those first.
That impound lot kind of don't look too good over there, does it?
Yeah, it's off. We've got the majority of that. We've got where we can get out and sell. Those old Impala police cars have been there for a decade.
Still got that older ambulance over there.
Still got the ambulance.
It's used for whatever they.
And that old white van, all that's going up on gov deals. So I'm glad to get that. So finally, I want to say thank you to each and every one of y'all for the support that y'all given me and the hard work that y'all do. Every month, y'all come in here and sit and listen to all of us gripe, and we really appreciate it. And I want you to know that even though we butt heads every now and then, that's what keeps things moving. It's what keeps us thinking outside the box. So I just want to say thank you to each and every one of y'all. Thank you.
Debbie, if you'll move that awards accommodations also to 229. Now move it to the fire department, Chief Bergman.
Good morning. On line item 1 is going to be for the fire truck loan. We had to secure the 3.5% interest rate. This was come out of USDA. The rate was going to increase the 1st of July up to 4%. They sent some paperwork over to the mayor, and we signed it, and I'd like to push it forward to Tuesday night for y'all to have y'all's opinion on it. It don't lock us down. We can still back out if y'all choose to go the other route. It just says, hey, we set the money aside. After Tuesday night, it'll be secure at 3.5%, 100%, saying, hey, this is our loan. It still has our options if in the 4 years when the truck is delivered, if we have a better interest rate, we'll get that interest rate. So it doesn't change anything on that end of things. Unfortunately, we did not get the $50,000 grant that we were about 98% sure that we was going to get. Talking with Loretta, she has seen, numerous times that departments received this grant, and this year they had to reallocate the funds somewhere else. So that was kind of a letdown on our end, but it didn't change the amount of the truck. It just changed the amount that we had to pay back. So unfortunately like that. Vance was talking to me and says he'll be more than glad to, if we want to wait to reapply, but after looking at it, we don't want to gamble that percentage rate, because going from 3.5% to 4%, that's well over $100,000, and that grant was only worth for $50,000. So we felt like that was the best decision, and I'd like to have y'all push that forward to where y'all can vote on it, make sure everybody was good with it.
And once we vote on it and it does pass, you're ready to push the button and go?
I am. Once y'all vote on it Tuesday night, I'll contact the rep and place our order. So all the funds is there, the money's there. Now I'm going to secure our spot in the truck and sign that. So no price increases and stuff like that will happen.
I thought we had already locked in the 3.5% some time ago.
It was actually 3.7%, but how long it takes to do all the paperwork on USDA side, it was creeping that percentage jump rate on their side. So he's seen that it was going to be, we were going to just put it to the board, but he was on a deadline. So we didn't even get to go through this meeting today. We was going to try to do it after finance. He needed it that Thursday. So we went through my committee meeting, and then we went through finance, but we had to do it actually before finance. So this is just, Mr. Owens felt like it was appropriate to let y'all put it through the actual vote for Tuesday night.
And the percentage eventually will be a little.
Mm-hmm. It actually dropped a little bit. So he wanted us to make sure we get that better deal to save that well over $100,000.
So
If
the
things go-
percentage drops, we'll get that.
It will.
If it increases, we will not be increased.
That is correct.
That's good.
The next is just the department report. This month, the department has had a extreme success rate on their certification pass rate through the Tennessee Fire Commission. I'm very proud of the guys. We've had as low as the entry level certs as HMA and HMO, all the way up to a Fire Officer 3, hazmat technician through the commission side, Fire Officer 2. So they're striding, and I'm very proud of those. And I wanted to let y'all know that as well. Everything else is running well.
Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Debbie will also move the fire truck loan interest to Tuesday night. Parks and Recs, Director Nathan Browning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's loud. Item 1 is our Stone Bridge information. Just before our junior rodeo, we found out that our pump was not working correctly from the river to the pond. We thought it was a breaker, changed the breaker out, found out it wasn't the breaker, it was the actual pump. With the humidity, with the heat, the pond, it was losing water quickly. We went for about 3 days pumping. Our little Jack let us borrow the pump, and we were able to rent some hoses to get the water from the river to the pond to keep it afloat for a weekend. Of course, we were on a daily rate with that. We were able to get a hold of Powerhouse. They came out, made an immediate assessment. Talked with Mr. Owens. We felt the need for a pump replacement as soon as possible because the pump it's not going to change unless that pump is replaced. The total for the order, delivery, and installation was $7,363.75. So we asked to move forward with that.
Any questions on this expense?
So the pump's not been, you waiting on action from the board?
Well, we went to make an emergency purchase. We had to, without losing any
You already made
time.
the purchase.
Right. And part of it, I guess the main, Nathan had this money in his budget, but because he could not, timing was an issue, we had to go prior to the fiscal year, so it became an emergency purchase since we could not wait to get into the new fiscal year.
But it is on order.
Yes, sir. It
And
should be in this week.
it will be in this week.
Well, he gave us 1 to 2 weeks. That was the day we ordered it. As soon as we got the go-ahead, I think it was last Tuesday.
Is that pump up on where's that pump located?
About 25 feet below.
Below? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So the water's not really circulating right now at all, hardly?
No, sir, it's not. I was hoping we could get a pump rented from Christopher's today that will pump through a 4-inch pipe. It'd be $140 for 1 day to get that water at least up a little bit in case our pump does not come in this week. We'll be able to at least get it back to where it is not as noticeable.
So you got someone lined up to install it?
Yes, sir.
And one of the biggest threats that Nathan had is that there are fish that are still in there, and this is important for the continual life of the fish in the pond.
Correct.
See, this is where you get in problems on budget amendments, if you have to do a budget amendment.
It is.
This is where you get into, if the state is really wanting us to wait till we don't order anything at all, in this case, let's say if it was this case, you're sitting there, and the fish dying, you're sitting there, and then you got a vote before you can do a budget amendment. This is an issue. This is a problem.
Amen.
Okay, we'll move that to Tuesday night.
And as far as my director's report, Don Davidson paving has been completed. It looks phenomenal. A lot of our citizens were able to see it at our fireworks show this past weekend. Again, I want to commend so many people for making this a success. Our guys and our staff, tremendous job all day long. Fire department, police department, parks work, public works. Everybody in the community and the city came together for this, and I'm just very pleased to work with such fine people. But that completion is done, and it's moving on to my next point. To help bring Don Davidson back to life, we have started working on our softball complex down at the end for the little girls playing area. Those 2 fields, we were able to fix all 4 of the dugouts down there, the roofs, brand new, roofing done. We have a group of volunteers who would like to form a 501c3 group. They have donations, people who want to donate to that specific area of Don Davidson to hopefully bring some life back into it. The concession stand being a huge part of that. We spoke with a guy who travels around the state, North Alabama, putting on tournaments, and can have anywhere from 30 to 50 teams in a tournament. And one thing that he really pushes for is a operating concession stand in at least 2 fields. So we have that. So we are in the process now, hopefully getting that together to get that concession stand up and running. And then in the future plans is to have Don Davidson up and running like it used to several years ago.
And did we move the power box when we redid all the electric stuff? I know that was the issue in the concession stand, saying don't have any power in it, just bring in coolers and stuff. Have we fixed it now where we can have electricity in there, or is it still just bring in?
Well, it's still bring in because of the floodplain. If we had a cooler in there, it would be something that would have to shut off power anyway. One of the ideas were to make an upstairs area for things like that. We can store things that we need upstairs above that floodplain.
And one thing I think about the 5013C, we kind of got touched on some of these issues in the past, is they have to make sure they have to be approved through you.
Right.
Which would bring it to the board, you know.
Okay.
They can't just go out there and build whatever.
Right. That's why I wanted to bring this up. Hopefully to get that moving in the right direction where we can have those who do want to donate. I think it was talking earlier about we want to donate this money, but if say donate $10,000, it may be 3 months before we're able to use it. And we're just hoping to get things ready. I know we're going to have a fall league in softball this year, and hopefully catapult us into next spring and having an even bigger softball spring. So that was our thought.
And I think it's a good idea because the other area schools also have like Friends of the girls softball or soccer fields and things like that. But they just have to know that they have to come through the city, through you.
Right. That's why I expressed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's some paving scheduled for Don Davidson, right? Is there some paving to be done?
Not at this moment. The paving, the asphalt was completed throughout the park area.
Okay.
But nothing is on the agenda immediate. Future, absolutely, but nothing immediate. Our next point, our pickleball tennis courts are open. They look great. If you haven't had a chance to go back there and look at those, 4 pickleball courts and 1 tennis court, it looks like it is brand new. They did a tremendous job on it. We have our netting up. They actually been people out there working on or playing on them. FPU is going to come out to just double check our lighting and change some bulbs for us at their convenience, so we'll be able to have people coming out at night playing. I had a text message last night at 8:30 if they could go out and play. And of course, absolutely, we want to get folks playing as much as possible. We will have a free tennis clinic that will be July the 27th on a Saturday morning, 8:30 to 10:30. We just ask that folks sign up or give us a call so we can register them, and we'll have a free tennis clinic. Also, we'll have a pickleball clinic as well, and it will be free on July the 16th. Again, just call the rec center and we can get you registered. That will be during the week due to the gentleman and that will be performing. They'll be doing that clinic. Tuesday night was the only night he could do it. So we're looking at I think 7 to 8:30, and we'll have that posted as well for our pickleball clinic. And finally, Parks and Recreation Month is July, and we have kicked off a little campaign called Fayetteville Rocks. We have a couple things going on right now. One, we have Sammy the Snake that we've put out at Kids Park, where we have a large painted rock. It's a snake head, and kids, or I guess adults, can paint their own rock and add to Sammy's tail. It gets community involved. It gets our kids in the park and able to utilize some art, creativity. So that's one aspect we're doing. The next one, we are hiding one particular rock in each of our parks, one per week. If a child finds this rock, he can bring it to the rec center and win a little prize that will involve some of our commercial places here in Fayetteville. A lot of our employees, like the mayor, the chief, and the other chief, they've all agreed to help us out and being involved with the community in that. So we're really looking forward to getting our kids and community involved in our parks. We just want them to explore. I know there people don't really know where maybe S.J. King Park, where it is, or Kiwanis Park, or where it is. So we want to make sure we promote those facilities.
It's just for the kids, right?
Yes. Sorry.
There'll be other.
You can paint one.
Thanks, I will.
And with that, unless there's any questions, that's my report.
Any questions? Okay.
Mayor, I do want to make one note that Nathan fails to recognize, but he entertained Parks and Recreation along with the help of fire and police, entertained almost 300 kids plus on June 8th with the fishing rodeo, a major success. Our office has received a lot of positive responses from them, so I do want to give kudos to the Parks and Rec as well as police and fire for June 8th and handling all those kids.
It was a great day. It was a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Walmart. They showed out
They
big time.
did, absolutely.
Darren George, if you had a chance, he's back in the automotive section with the hunting area. If you ever go through Walmart, ask for Darren. He's a super guy. Got a great heart for this community and our kiddos. So we appreciate them, absolutely.
And the bypass was lined with people. I mean, the crowd for the fireworks show again was a great year. So good show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now for the IT department, Mr. Gavin McCurry.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
As far as the IT department goes, we finished the installation of dishes from the rec center down to the fire station 2, so that they will be able to get our internet rather than solely relying on FPUs. We also installed a new desktop there so they can access all their reports from a main line rather than going Wi-Fi, again on our network. And we've also ran wires for a new access point at that station. We got Miss Debbie set up with a new computer for her position, got it updated and everything she needed. We updated the firmware to the firewall, so that's up to date and we have another year on that. We finished in the installation of all the firewall and switches at all the other buildings. They're all up and running. Also installed an access point over in the planning and codes department because from where they are, they don't really have access to the one that's right out here in the hallway. So now they have access to our internet. That's any questions. That's really all I have.
Okay. Any questions? Roxy. Thank you. Item G is beverage board. You have included in your packet the information a beer permit was issued to the Elk Tap Room. They will be announcing their opening date in a couple of months, so stay tuned for that. And then that takes us to the finance department. Director Loretta Garner.
Morning. First item we have is the budget amendment from the school system. It's a capital budget amendment for some of their payments. Have any questions? My finance report, I'm going to start with addressing what Mr. Bryant had brought up about the budget amendments. Because I have seen this come up in the past. One way we could circumvent that and help that time frame is that we could have the item come up, you give either approval or denial, included in the budget amendment for the same meeting, but put the budget amendment toward the bottom of your agenda, and that way if you wanted to take, if something was voted down, then you could do an amendment to that budget amendment, you know, that was presented to you, and pull that item out at that point. So you could do it all in one meeting. It is a little bit more detail and a little bit more difficult to do than the way we do it now. But that is, he is correct, that is the way that the state is heading, and that they are pushing things along. And with that, you each, I think, got a copy of our where our budget was approved. A couple of items, a few items to note. Number one, we already knew about the budget amendment that was in our audit last year, and you did a budget amendment this year to keep that from happening. And then this, in the current year, those transfers were included in the original budget that you approved. So I think we have addressed that issue. The enterprise fund resolution, neither Mr. Dye nor myself were aware that they wanted a resolution. When we had discussed it with the state, they had just told us to attach the documents that the federal public utilities had presented to what was sent into the state, but now they're wanting a actual resolution, and so we will be working toward that. I'm not for sure if they want us to do that this year or if they just want us to wait till next year. That is one of the questions I have out there for them. I'll send them in an email to get clarification on that. The submission documents, they were so large that I could not send them in one email. So next year we will have to just work with the IT to see if we can get it all sent in one email. It was just so large that our email just wouldn't send it. So I had to send it in multiple documents, and the state wanted it all in one big document. So that's kind of my report with the budget and the budget submission to receive approval from the state. Do I have any questions? Then this past month we had sales tax was $330,683. This was a 1% increase. State share tax was actually a decrease of 1%, which has been kind of odd. We've been increasing that every month, but this month was a slight decrease over last year, $75,596. The occupancy tax was $144,706 for year to date. And in April itself, just by itself, we saw a 2% decrease, which is a little bit less than what our decreases have been being. They've been running 10 to 15%. This month was only 2%. Do I have any questions? If not, that's my report.
That takes us then to the administration. Kevin Owens.
Good morning, Mayor and Board. If I have your permission, I will start with my report and then go into the items because I may have another one to add. But my report, we have formulated a municipal building improvement and repair committee, and that consists of myself, Debbie, as well as Jill and Jack. And what we're doing for the remainder of this year, we're looking at some ways to kind of get this particular building back in order, as well as some repairs that are needed. But we would concentrate on safety and security, number one, the exterior outside, as well as HVAC work that need to be done, the roof cleaning, and some beautification projects. So we're meeting monthly to address some of the needs of this current building to keep it in order. One of the things that we're also working on is a multimodal application for 2024. As you remember, we did receive one in 2023, and we will be doing some activities over the next 4 to 6 weeks to get that started, but we're applying for one in 2024, and we have had several committee meetings in order to get that. Right now, the application is looking to be from Maine and College all the way down to Bellevue. Yes, thank you. And this was part of the application that we applied for last year. And if you may recall, we changed that to College Street in front of the theater so we can have a consistent project. So we're looking at taking care of what we originally applied for in this application. That application is due on July 15th. And if you have any input, please let myself know. The committee we've been working is basically Chrissy, Jack, Jill, and the mayor. And we've been trying to work throughout the last few weeks in order to get the application in. And we are looking to have a very competitive application this go round. Jack mentioned sidewalks, and that's been a consistent effort with many people. Just to let the board know that we have a monthly meeting, and that monthly meeting this month will be on July 9th at 9:30. We will have it in the multimodal room, and that consists of the employees as well as the contractor, Adams, and our engineer. LPU also participate, but any of the board members who want to come in and listen, you're certainly welcome. We're looking at July 29th to meet with the merchants as far as the last phase to start preparing them. We have met in the past with the merchants in the South Main Avenue as well as the Market Street. In our third phase, we're looking at meeting with them in the last week of July, and we will be publicizing those meetings so we can get as much participation as possible. We do believe that communication is best. These efforts have been hard. We don't know what to look for or what we may find in the process, so we're going to encourage everybody possible who are part of that northern part of Main Avenue to participate. We're working right now as far as still with the sidewalks. We're working to implement a retainage account, which is required by contract, that we, instead of paying the contractor every month all the money, we have to put a part in a retainage account, and that retainage account is authorized by both the city as well as the contractor. That retainage account will exist until the project is successfully completed. So we're working on doing that within the next few days. And finally, as far as the sidewalk, Vice Mayor mentioned a contingency account, and we placed 10% in that contingency account. Right now, we have only had to utilize that twice, and that was in the month of May. Coming up in the month of July, as we deal with the Market Street side, we anticipate that we're going to probably have several times that we will have to utilize that account. We will tell the board each time we do. You will get an email as well as it will be in Public Works, Finance, and Work session for the August meeting. But right now, we have not had to utilize that in the month of June, but we do see the costs coming in the month of July. In the month of July, we're also going to start back with the fleet management plan. We have not been active with a fleet management plan since prior to my time here. We do have a committee that consists of quite a few people in this room, Jack, Debbie, Fire Department, and the Police Department, but we have planned to meet and start working on a fleet management plan that we will be reporting back to this board within the next couple months of what we found and what we're going to be working towards over the next several months. Vice Mayor also mentioned the Craft Building. We did have an offer from the owner for $50,000, but we're also looking at the additional costs if we decided to acquire, what it would cost to demolish the building and all of that other work. Jill has started the process with looking to see what that would work, and we have at least had contact by one company. So we're trying to find out a good proposal on that craft building. It does not look like the owner is going to be able to clear it up any other type of way, but we want to be able to bring a cost back to the board. And as I said, we do have an offer of $50,000 on the table right now. Technology, I think Gavin mentioned a lot of activities that have been going on with our contractor, Jerry Taylor, as far as installing switches at the different locations of the city buildings. And this is done so we can have better protection and better security as far as our computer system. So far, it's been going quite well. Jerry and team along with Christy and Gavin, did a lot of work last week. We are planning on giving an overall view to the work session in August, on August 8th, on how the whole plan is working. So far, it's going great. It's been a lot of work into it, but we've been very pleased with the progress thus far. We're in the process of planning the 911 ceremony. The city will host that this year. We have a meeting next week, and we will probably have all of the plans by the August meeting on the 911, which will be on a Wednesday this particular year. Chief David mentioned the fire truck. I have asked Loretta and David to give a presentation in our August work session as far as how the finances is going to look. So they're right now going back to recap how everything is supposed to play a part with the finances in the fire truck. And we do want to give a presentation in the August work session. If anybody have any questions prior, please let us know. And that's mostly my report. But I also want to ask a question. I did meet with Pam Gentry earlier today, and I do want to bring Pam back for 15 hours a week through August 31st. I'm not sure whether it would become necessary for this committee, but I did talk with her this morning. If she comes in for 15 hours for the next 6 weeks, it would be basically to help us with a couple complex HR processes, including the recruitment of the police chief, as well as a couple of things we need to kind of get together, as well as helping us a little bit with the administration of the sidewalks, and also as we prepare for the August 31st closeout. I'm not 100% sure, but I did meet with her, and I did want to bring this to the board in case I do have to bring it to the board meeting on next Tuesday. In addition, I want to bring up the ARPA funds for the animal control building. The building is in very poor condition. We did do some general outlooks of some of the things we needed to do, and they basically some painting, some repairs of the floor when the public walks in, and we have a spot that is considered not really safe, and it's really been that way for a few years, but since we are really taking ownership, we really need to make those repairs as well as some external. We came to that amount being $2,424, and that amount will be shared by the county. What I'm asking the board to do is to pay that expense with the county reimbursing us of $1,212.19. And I'm also asking that to come out of ARPA funds. We have not expended all of our ARPA funds, but to have that 24 to come out of ARPA funds. And when the county reimburses, it would go back into ARPA funds. So that's item number one. The second item I am asking, even though we have been doing great with IT in this particular period, I'm asking that we extend Jerry Taylor's contract from July into September 15th. So as we really come online with our outsourcing, if we have any problems, we can come back to Jerry and ask him to help us, as well as he will be reporting on how everything is looking to the board next month. And then I have a third component. Jerry helped us do the security portion of the police department. One of the things, as we look into security, we'll do a similar thing to the municipal building, and I think Jerry will be able to give us a lot of guidance on that particular issue with doing security in this building as he did with the police department, and I will cover all of that within the contract. Thus far, Jerry, under 4 months, Jerry has utilized a little more than 6,000, so he's been a good steward, and I do expect him to continue being a good steward with this contract, so I'm asking the board to consider extending Jerry's contract, and I'm able to answer any questions that you may have.
I got a couple.
Yes, sir.
On retainage percentage to hold on the contractor, what percentage will that be?
It would be 5%. What we had to do, we did a little research that was by the state requirement, and there will be 5%. Am I saying that right, Loretta?
It's by law.
By law,
It's
yeah.
5%.
5%, okay. There's a deadline on the sidewalk.
Yes, yes.
When is that deadline? Do you remember?
So there's a deadline by contract, and that
By
deadline,
contract.
yeah, that deadline is early. I think it's February 1, 2025, but we're expecting that to be a lot earlier than that.
Okay.
Verbally, in our meetings, the sidewalks are supposed to be completed way before host.
Okay. On the craft building, they've offered it 50,000, but we don't know what it would take to tear that down.
We do not.
So I would hope they'd offer for $1.
Along that line, other craft field, is there asbestos in that building?
We expect so, yes.
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 Was that building also the building in front of the craft building? Is that part of it too? I
Yes.
think where he keeps his got his cars and that golf stuff in there. Okay. And some of the, she's using some of that property too. In front of it, I think her little canteen thing. She's using some of her property.
Yes. Joe's let her.
Right, Joe's been using it,
Yes,
correct.
yes.
On the Pam coming back, is that funding for her, is that already in the budget? Will that be in the budget? Or are you asking for more?
Quite honestly, I need to check. Literally, Pam was here at 7:15 this morning, so we were just talking in essence. So I would really have to check, and I would also need you to send you all something on that.
Well, I think if it's not in the budget, the board would need to make some kind of action on it.
Correct.
But if it's already in the budget, you have the authority
Correct.
for employees. You know, right?
Correct.
I guess that's how it's going, that's going to come out. Thank you.
Kevin, going back to the craft building, when you spoke to them, is there anything inside that building cell? Is she gonna let it go? I mean, because some of that stuff could sell.
She said that it would be as is, whenever we decide, and I did tell her that I would present the 50,000, and then of course y'all counter offer, and she said she understood that. And I told her that it was up to all the aldermen that I was no longer in this. I would just present it to y'all what she wanted, and then y'all would go from there. Now, it will take Jack and I probably about a month or so to get several rough estimates on what it would cost to take this building down. And then we will present that to y'all as well. And that's about as far as we can go. Y'all will have to make that decision.
We have Brown's Construction is working on this one right now, Barry Brown.
There's gonna be salvageable. I mean, like the weight machine, years ago, there was a weight thing out there, I think, and he's got a lot of stuff inside the building.
He does have a lot of scrap metal.
He's got a lot of scrap metal.
That will be on us to get rid of as well.
I was just thinking about recouping some of the money if we decide to move forward to buying it, because there is a lot of stuff, if you walk through there.
And it is.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's miles of wire from schools.
There's plenty of cats that go after everybody on the board.
It's crap.
And I think we're thinking about going ahead and condemning it.
Right.
Not that anybody would purchase this building, but the thing is, if they don't, it's gonna sit there. Even if we decide not to do anything, or y'all decide not to do anything with it now, it's gonna sit there. And it's gonna sit there and sit there and sit there until we finally do decide to move along with getting it demolished. Whether we put a lien on it or whatever, it's gonna sit there the same as it is until we.
The longer it sits, and I've been through that building as well several times, and it's bad inside.
And a concern, speaking with Jill and Jack, is that even getting there too long, health concerns, for anybody in there too long. So that's a major, even recouping stuff out.
So we, at this time, the board will be waiting on some quotes for the demolition and whether they take the scrap metal out, sell, or whatever. We're just waiting on quotes at this time. Once we get those prices, then we would be able to better determine an offer, if we're interested in an offer to make to the owners. Is that correct, Jill? Yes. Okay. All right, we'll wait to hear from you on that as far as how the quotes go from you and Jay. Okay, so back to you, Kevin, on this ARPA funds. That will also need to go to Tuesday night, Debbie. And on the extension of Jerry Taylor's, that will go to Tuesday night. Any other questions from the board? If none, this meeting is adjourned.
Mayor, can I do one thing?
Yes.
So today is a big day for Jill. It's her big birthday. So just let everybody acknowledge Jill for her big birthday.
She didn't tell us.
This is a big one.
Oh.
I forgot her gift at home. She got a special delicate, and I forgot it this morning.